It's time to stop milling around, let's get on with this review. We're in the road building sector with the Wirtgen W210Fi cold milling machine, and the real machine has won a 2020 design award. The box is Wirtgen branded, and if we have a look at the end we see that the model's made by NZG. Okay, that's enough for the preamble, let's open up the box and see what's inside. Well, out comes what you would normally expect to see, and that's a pair of expanded polystyrene trays. There is an instruction sheet and we'll look at that in a moment, but something unusual is that there's a tool included and it's a pair of plastic tweezers. But we still need a knife to cut the factory tape, and then we can lift the top tray hoping to get the model out. But you can't because lurking underneath there's a twist tie, and so you need to undo that to be able to set the model free. At least the good news is that the twist tie is not too stiff. Once it's removed we can get the giant hand crane out and lift the model out of the box. There's also a bag containing parts and spare track links. We still have some packaging to remove from the model, and that includes cling film which has been wrapped around each of the crawler tracks. There is one other piece of packaging which is harder to see, and it's a clear elastic band which is securing the side plates of the milling drum. The elastic band is easily lost, so it's probably best to put it on your ear for safekeeping. The included instruction sheet shows the main functionality of the model. For the assembly, let's set the model up, ready for work, and we start with it arriving on site on a low loader. We'll take it off using the closest available giant hand crane, and to begin with we'll lower the access ladder into the cab. This rotates down into place and then we can literally raise the roof, and that pulls up and we can support it in place on the windscreen. But to hold it in place there are a couple of small steel pins to insert, and this is very tricky with the supplied tweezers. After many attempts, if you can get the pin located you can push it into place, and then repeat that for a second pin. Once the pins are in you have to fit a small control screen, and here the tweezers are a little more useful. The crawler tracks are very small and nicely detailed with their yellow pads, and the detailing of the milling drum is excellent. The cutting tips are highlighted with red paint. Other details are nice, and there's a flexible belt on the primary conveyor. Moving to the discharge conveyor and there are nice grills underneath, and the flexible belt has a pattern within it. With the machine the right way up we can take another look at the crawler tracks, and they are nicely detailed considering the small size. At the back the rear panels have highlighted details and there are sharp graphics. The two large exhaust pipes are very nice because they have realistic holes, and the large rear grille at the back is also very good. If you look inside you can see two large fans at the back, and you can just see engine detail under the top grille. Inside the operator's area there's excellent textured floors, and there are tiny controls on the console. There are steps leading up into the operator's area, and there's some fine modelling of the smaller details on the side plates. Moving to the front there are large flexible hoses up onto the conveyor, and more nice detailing and sharp graphics on the panels. There are thin metal wire supports for the conveyor, and other details include graphics and hoses. Let's start with the small crawler tracks, and they can be made to turn by hand, although there's too much friction for them to roll on a surface. Moving on to the milling drum, and it rotates very smoothly. It's a heavy metal part and that helps it. The crawler track frames do have linked steering, and it allows a small amount of movement on the front pair, but they're actually quite stiff. But things are a little better on the rear pair, and they turn nicely. Another piece of functionality is that the rear plate to the milling drum is movable. Let's move on to the conveyor and see if we can move the belt. And if you're really persistent, you probably can get it to move, but it is all very stiff. In part, that's probably because the main discharge conveyor can be folded for transport, and you raise it up by moving into hydraulic rams, but they're quite loose. You can also rotate the whole conveyor left or right for discharge, but the angle seems much less than the real machine can achieve. Back to the crawler tracks, and you can raise the whole machine by extending the track frames. And then you can lower the side plates down to enclose the milling drum to stop stones flying everywhere. The model engineering gets difficult in this scale, and it's quite stiff to lower the side plates. A very nice piece of functionality on the model is the opening engine cover. And it's particularly nice because the engine underneath is impressive to look at. There are many different parts and they're in different colours. And it's a very nice piece of modelling. There is a side panel which also opens, and it's got a clip on it, so you have to pull it hard. And the detail inside is also really nice because it includes a rubber drive belt. When you've finished looking, you can clip the door shut. A feature of the real machine is that you can change the milling drum in double quick time. And you can do that on the model too by firstly raising the access ladder and then opening the side plate. The milling drum is then just sitting on an axle and you can pull it right out. And this is a very nice bit of functionality. A model like this does look very good in dioramas, so let's give it an operator. And then while it's milling around waiting, we can reverse up a tipper truck. And it will be used to take away our freshly milled desktop. Of course, the other way you can display a model like this is as a very good transport load. This is another very high quality model for the Wirtgen group. NZG have provided a model with really nice details and an array of working parts which are mostly very good. It is a very flexible model which looks great paired up with others, and overall the many plus points means that it is excellent.